My name is Chandra DeNap Whetstine, and a few years ago, I probably would have told you that one of my favorite hobbies was to be righteously angry. like righteously angry. I paid attention to the news to make me angry, and I watched documentaries to make me angry, and I listened to podcasts to make me angry, and I read books to make me angry. I liked my anger. I nursed it. I cultivated it. Because I hoped that I could use my anger to fuel a fight for justice. And right now, there is a lot to be angry about. A war in Ukraine. Unnecessary deaths due to this global pandemic, systemic racism, and all of the issues that my friends in cohort 14 have been talking about all morning. These are things to be angry about. And yet, in the past few years, I have seen our anger, my anger, feed on itself. You see, no matter who we are or what side of the aisle we sit on, our anger, our fear, our pain has been co-opted for other people's political gain. Rather than standing shoulder to fight for justice, we've let our anger pit us against each other and tear our relationships apart. And nowhere is that more evident than the way we behave online. I mean, how many times have you opened your favorite social media app to see the words, "Unfriend me now," scrawled across your newsfeed? If you think COVID is a hoax, unfriend me now. If you think that Black lives matter more than blue lives, you might as well unfriend me now. If you think that Me Too has gone just too far, well, then you might as well unfriend me right now. If you think that the United States is not the greatest country in the whole world, well, you can just unfriend me now. Unfriend me now has become the new rallying cry of the United States of America, and it is killing us. In 2019, sensing this growing unease, I came to work at the One America movement. I could see this breakdown in community, and I didn't really have a name for it yet, but I wanted to help address it. And of course, I saw it in the way that we were behaving online, but also in how we engage in real time. Around our Thanksgiving dinner tables, and in our boardrooms, and outside our polling places, and outside our Capitol. Outside our Capitol, folks. You see, you don't have to look too far in the news to see that our democracy is in jeopardy. The United States has the worst trending social cohesion indicators in the world. The worst in the world. Not only that, but half of the countries that have experienced our level of political polarization have seen a decline in their democracy. It's scary stuff. People are non-ironically asking whether civil war is possible, and it just might be. But at the One America movement, we know that it's not just our democracy that is in trouble. It's our communities, our congregations, and our very relationships. That's why we support communities to build belonging, to find relationships across our political, racial, and religious divides, and to reject the us versus them culture that is tearing our country apart. And it's here at the One America movement that I met my friend Rachel. If anyone has the right to be angry, it's Rachel. You see, Rachel was a young associate rabbi in Charlottesville, Virginia, in 2017. when a mass of neo-Nazis descended on her town. She was one of the staff at a synagogue that was responsible for formulating the synagogue's response. She was responsible for providing pastoral care to her congregants and their families. She was there to face Nazis, like modern-day Nazis. So if anyone has the right to be angry, it is Rachel. Now, Rabbi Rachel first heard of the One America movement in January of 2018. After the camera crews and news outlets left Charlottesville, the clergy and community leaders were there to clean up the mess. The One America movement was starting a clergy group to work across those political, racial, and religious divides. Would Rabbi Rachel like to join? Well, of course, Rachel was skeptical. In the lead up to the Unite the Right rally, not a single conservative evangelical pastor showed up in support. Not a single conservative evangelical pastor had reached out to the synagogue. She couldn't help but think that they just didn't care. Or worse yet, that they might be anti-Semites too. So why would she want to join a group with those people? But something inside Rachel made her say yes. A wish to heal, a wish to understand. And so she spent the next 2 years working alongside other clergy from across the political, racial, and religious spectrum. And she built a relationship with an evangelical pastor named Tom. Now, Pastor Tom and Rabbi Rachel do not always agree on everything. In fact, they had many difficult and grappling conversations about contentious issues like abortion and immigration. And Rabbi Rachel was able to learn why Pastor Tom and his colleagues had stayed away during the Unite the Right rally. Because they didn't want to give the rally oxygen. And he was able to learn why Rabbi Rachel needed him there so badly. Because his voice matters. You see, friends, in the final accounting, we actually don't have to agree on every single thing. Love and solidarity can actually trump hate. It really can. And it's not just this story about Rabbi Rachel and Pastor Tom. The One America movement is helping communities find new ways to build belonging all across the country. Our Matthew 5:9 fellowship brings together pastors and Christian leaders who are concerned about helping their congregations put their faith identity above their political identity. In 2020, the original 30 members of Matthew 5:9 put out a call for biblical peacemaking. More than 1,600 concerned Christians signed that peacemaker pledge, and because of their courageous leadership, more than 10 million people were reached with messages about what it means to be a peacemaking Christian in the face of that contentious and potentially violent election. Not only that, but the One America movement is building multi-faith groups just like Tom and Rachel's all across the country, in small and medium-sized cities like Danville, Virginia, and Jackson, Mississippi, and Grand Rapids, Michigan. These multi-faith groups are working on some of their community's most intractable problems, like gun violence and the rural-urban divide and racial reconciliation and the opioid crisis. These are issues that we're not going to solve if we keep each other at arm's length. Now, I know there is a lot to be angry about, but we're not going to solve our country's biggest problems if we cancel, reject, or write off half of our fellow Americans. We're just not. Folks, we belong together. Everyone here in the United States, we belong together. Now, it matters who we vote for and where we spend our money and what policies are put in place. I know the devil is in the details, but I believe that God is in the design. And right now, coming out of this pandemic, we have a chance to redesign the very fabric of our country. The question is, will we have the guts to dream a new society into existence? If you want to find out, come and join us at the One America movement. Thank you. Yeah.